Hey, good morning, Patriots. Man, oh man, another great day. It's a spring day, a beautiful day. And hold on, I'm getting my chat out so I can monitor you guys. I'm going to monitor you all like the FBI monitored the Trump campaign in 2016. That's what I'm going to do. And someone who's good at monitoring is Chris Cordani. Good morning, Chris.
That's right, Tony. I think I can't let you do that. No, that's my pal Hal. That's a different story for another day. So I'm here, the Dr.
Yeah,
Smith of radio.
I mean
Yeah.
Hal 9000.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Dave. I can't do that. I'm afraid I can't do that. Open the pod bay door, Hal. I'm
You know,
sorry, Dave.
you'd never hear that
So
crap out of
yeah, go ahead.
C3PO, would you?
No, of course not.
C3PO, he'd
No,
never
he is
say,
always happy. He's a
he'd never
happy-go-lucky
say,
guy.
Master Luke, I'm afraid I cannot let you do that. Or Tweaky would never pull that garbage on Buck Rogers, right? A beady.
I
Sorry, I can't let you do
I've
that.
ne- I got to tell you, I could never stomach Buck Rogers. I don't know why. It's like I love sci-fi. As a matter of fact, I'm on my third rewatch right now of Battlestar Galactica, the reimagined one with this with Lieutenant Castillo playing Adama.
Ah,
she's almost playing Adama. It's like a little cross cultural crossover there. I'm just
well,
waiting for Sonny Crockett to come on sometime and start shooting people up.
how about some Flash Gordon? You like Flash Gordon? The only problem I had with Flash Gordon is that the main star was a New York Jets quarterback, and he could throw, and he didn't get
Yeah.
injured. So,
Well, there was a better version of that. It was called Flesh Gordon, but it was X-rated. But I digress.
well, if it didn't have Brian Bless in it, then I don't know. I'd probably rather watch anything with
I
Brian.
think it was about Joe Biden's blonde hair in a pool. I think that's what it was about. But I digress. So someone who does not have blonde hair in a pool is
Well,
Karen
she has
Kirk.
blonde
Morning,
hair.
Karen, but not in a
I've been
pool.
waiting. I knew you were going to be creative on the lead, and I was waiting for like some big moment. It was good. There was a
Well,
lot to work with there. Your comedy was really good pre-show too, Tony. You got me. I was
well.
laughing coming in.
So I wish I could tell the people what's going on, but I can't.
It's all good. It's all good.
Uh,
I,
They'll know soon enough. Patriots are pretty smart. I'm in the
uh,
chat
yeah.
already, so we got a lot of people in there this
Yeah,
morning.
it was a so some of the Patriots observed me over here doing stuff yesterday, and it was a hot exchange with someone and me. We'll leave it at that for now, but it
Yeah.
was interesting. And
Yeah.
let me tell you, let me put it this way: some people at the Pentagon aren't taking the pressure well. Just saying, it's like, okay, I know you're all under pressure, but maybe maybe you ought to think about things before, just saying. So
Yeah,
anyway,
well, it'd be a fly on the wall, I'm sure there's a lot of very interesting and enlightening conversations taking place between today and, yesterday. So it's
yeah,
been a very interesting 36 hours or so.
it ain't over. It's gonna be an interesting week.
No,
So before further ado, I want to remind people I'm wearing the Born to Ride 45 George's organization, George's T-shirt here. I'm wearing it this morning.
the
I got it out of the
Godfather.
wash. That's right. And he sent me this. I showed this to people yesterday. I didn't serve this
Yeah.
country for pussies to tell me that I should be politically correct. So that's our theme here, right,
uh,
Chris? This is like our theme. This is
I
like,
think it's a great theme.
yeah.
I do have some bad news for you, Tony.
All right.
You said it wasn't over. Unfortunately, I looked this up, and well, it's over
Ooh,
because she's singing.
That's good, Chris. That was amazing.
I need a rim shot here. That's what I
is
need.
that Lizzo? Is that
Yes,
is that is that the reduced? Is that the Timo Lizzo reduced in
yeah,
size and half the value?
a little bit, but since
Yeah,
she's
well,
sang, it's over.
everybody's on these Ozempic diets. Let's talk about that. I think it's pretty incredible actually, but I think everybody should just own it. Like it is what it is. Like I can tell you that I've seen a lot of people personally, over the past 2 years that have taken advantage of medical opportunity and they've lost a lot of weight. So, is she healthier for that? There was a time where the left was
Yeah.
pushing that fat was healthy. Do we all remember that? They were like, oh, yeah, you now to embrace your fatness.
Well, yeah, it's well, they're depopulationists. They want people to die. I'm all for not making fun of people because some people do
Yes.
have a weight problem. I wouldn't make fun of them,
Absolutely. We
but
all have problems.
we should not
Everybody's
celebrate
got
it.
problems.
Right? We should encourage people to try to be healthier. I mean, look at me.
Yeah.
I was
Absolutely.
50 pounds heavier a long time ago.
Yeah, listen, I've struggled with my weight here and there throughout my life, but hopefully, I'm on the right track. You make changes, you do what you can. And we all have baggage. We all have things. You live on this planet long enough, you're going to have some sort of a problem, right?
But this has plenty of protein right
Oh,
here.
absolutely.
What is
Soylent
that?
Green.
Soylent
Yeah, that's
Green.
a great movie. Soylent
Yes, a
Is
Green.
it?
classic. It took
Uh,
place in
yeah,
2023,
it's a
by the
great
way.
movie.
Yes.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. It was
Yeah. Yeah.
Charleston Heston, uh, 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 Ben-Hur, basically talking
Okay.
about how the Democrats are going to make people into to meals. Right, Chris? That's the summary, right?
Yep. It was a Kissinger classic, if you will. That's his
That's right.
depopulation plan right there.
This is
Soylent Green.
Klaus Schwab resigned because this didn't happen in 2023, right, Chris? That's why he resigned yesterday.
Right. He was
So,
upset because it was supposed to have happened a long time ago.
yeah.
Now,
So,
just want to be sure here that we all should know that Soylent Green is not, my friends. 1 second, my timing is a little off here because my mouse, my vision's off. I actually clicked the wrong thing here, so my timing will be a little off here. But Soylent Green is not to be confused with Soylent Grin, which is
yeah,
a
man, oh
Democrat
man.
phenomenon right there. Soy
Do
face.
they
We call it
Chris,
Soylent Grin.
do those guys pat each other down every day looking for weapons?
These are the guys that said, "We're ready to vote for Kamala today." There
Yeah.
was a meme with these guys on during the Hillary Clinton campaign that said, "Democrats, we're gonna make women's vote count twice by not voting."
Yeah. That's good. So, hey, well, Karen, I want to ask you that question because there's like you saw a Chris Van Hollen who got a room with that MS-13 guy, and I guess they went to a strip club too, but I don't want to
I
talk
don't
about
even
that.
know.
But
Yeah.
and now you've got four, count them, four representatives. One person from Oregon, another from California, one
Hmm.
from I think Texas. These people are nuts. And so, two
Mental
questions
illness
to
is
you.
real.
They aren't
So,
nuts. Uh,
first off, do you think it's appropriate for elected members of Congress, to be in a foreign country, El Salvador, trying to pressure El Salvadorian citizen? This guy is El Salvadorian, and they want him to break the law with them to return to the United States. Do you think that's an appropriate use of members of Congress time?
It doesn't sound like it's real. It sounds like it's the most ass backwards thing I've ever heard in my life. But I've heard worse. This is the way the left operates now. It's just
Yeah,
absolutely incredible. And
well,
I shouted out mental illness is real, and I honestly believe that that's true. I believe a lot of these people are working in what is absolutely a disinterest of the American people in every way, shape, and possible. And really, the people that they're supposed to work for that elected them, and some of them are mentally ill
yeah,
too. I mean, I just don't have a lot of capacity to call it anything else at this point because it seems so evident that that's exactly what it is.
yeah. I
I
agree.
have a
Right?
different
Like
perspective on
something's
this.
wrong. Like something's wrong with you. If you think this is okay, something is wrong with you. And something is wrong with us if we don't take action and make sure we make changes to keep people from infiltrating our Congress. I mean, I could go off right now on a rant about the squad and AOC and anti-Israel protests and everything else and take this in a million different directions. But the Democrats are broken. They are broken human beings, and they are being representative by really people that are mentally broken, is the way that I see it. I'm sure the chat's going to agree with me,
Well,
right?
hold on here. Hold on here. Tony, you are both absolutely right. But this is not. It's a horrible use. It's a poor excuse for use of a congressman's time. But they're
It
not.
Yeah,
shouldn't
They're
even be a
not mentally.
conversation.
But these Congress members are not mentally off doing this. They know that
Oh, I think they are.
most of their voting electorate is mentally off. What they're doing is trying to make names for themselves by hanging on to the latest thing, which is a Democrat strategy for a long time. This is the latest thing, garnering sympathy, playing with
yeah,
emotions over some guy that nobody really knows, nobody on their side knows much about, or refuses to acknowledge that he's part of a gang. The idea is they're trying to position themselves for 2028. There is no leadership in the Democrat Party. So these
No,
guys
they're
like Van Hollen
puppets.
and the guy with the frizzy hair from Florida,
It's
they're coming out of the
ridiculous.
woodwork. These are people you never heard of coming out of the woodwork going there. And they're the ones
yeah.
trying to make names for themselves for the next 2 to 4 years. That's what's happening. This is about Democrat leadership. It's certainly not about the guy. Not the
But their
MS-13 guy.
leadership
No.
has been broken for so long. We could go back. I mean, I don't know about you guys. Maybe I'm a little bit younger on the side of the spectrum that, like, when Obama came onto the scene, I had no idea who he was. And I was pretty, politically savvy for my age at that time, right? Like, they bring people out of the woodwork, little known senators, people, whoever, Joe Biden. Like, did you follow Joe Biden as somebody who was on the conservative side of things? I don't know how much attention most of us who weren't really entrenched in it were paying attention back then, but it seems to be their same old game. And we beat them at the game already, right? We beat them at the game. We have the highest office in the land at this point. So it's time to make change. And absolutely, like,
Yeah,
we're in total agreement. It's inappropriate in every way, shape, and form for this to be going on.
but this is where there's a challenge. So I agree with everything you said. Everybody in the chat agrees with you. The issue is this: they have played underhanded politics for the past 40 years. I've witnessed it.
Yeah.
Where you've
True.
seen the lowest learners as political appointees transition over to career and then dig in like a tick. I can say tick, right? Can I say that on the air, Chris?
Parasites.
I guess
Absolutely.
Parasite.
Yes.
Yes.
Into the body politics.
Yes.
So
We'll call
so
them Raskins.
Even when you get the head, you get control of the head. Donald Trump's the head. You've got this infestation through the body. So I agree with everything you're saying. The problem is they're ticks. They're little ticks. They're little, they're little worms. They're heartworms. You got to cleanse the body, and that's what we're going through. That's what the problem is right now.
We need ivermectin,
And-
is what you're saying, Tony. And that
Yeah,
was what
pretty
Donald
much.
Trump said. He said we need ivermectin, and here we are. Honestly,
Yeah.
there has to be a total cleanse. You're so right. And now's the
Dewormer.
opportunity for us to do
Not-
that. A
Yeah,
dewormer.
not Dean Wormer, but
Dean
dewormer,
Warmer, love
right?
him. All right, good reference. Zero.
I like it. I'm all
Son,
about a
zero.
parasite cleanse.
Son,
I'm all about it.
Son, fat, dumb, and stupid is no way to go through life. As
Hey,
the
he
dean
did become a
said.
senator, by the way, didn't he?
That's right, Blutarski, Senator Blutarski. That's where, yeah. Blutarski be the first guy in Latin America having pina coladas with MS-13. That's for sure. So
But
there you go.
But make no mistake, watch the news media is jumping on this for another reason. You watch CNN, watch MSNBC, and watch the Saturday shows. Now they can platform somebody other than the radical mouths who have helped ruin the Democrat Party, like your Jasmine Crockett's and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's of the world.
Yeah.
You have these little knowns who have calming voices, calming demeanors. Look at Jamie Raskin. This time
Calming,
last year,
calming.
this time
That's
2
right.
years ago, he was a yelling, screaming fanatic. Now he's Mr. Calm. He's still a fanatic, but he's Mr. Calm.
He's still a member of the Crips too.
Right. But actually, that makes a lot of sense. That's right. When he puts the do-rag on. The thing is, he's
Right.
always calm. His demeanor is a lot different from the squads. The Democrats are trying to rebrand themselves. What we're watching is a rebranding, and we have to make sure we fight it and make sure people know they're being phony about it. That's it.
Well,
It seems so
see,
transparent that they're such phonies, Chris. This is where, like, I'm like, wait, like, that's
Yeah.
why the show is like, wake up patriots, because, like, you have to be awake and realize it's been an infiltration. It's like a
It's a
jihad,
metaphor.
of our Congress. It really is.
Both the
truly.
metaphor and the truth. Yeah, it's double meaning. Yeah, and I'm
Well-
glad people are here to wake up and wake up. It's both.
Yeah.
But to
But
that
the
point, to Karen, I posted on my X account yesterday an interview with Pocahontas Elizabeth Warren, and this journalist did an act of journalism. He asked her directly, "Gee, said that Joe Biden was really mentally acute up to a year ago." Well, so the guy gets there. He says, "Well, was Joe Biden as mentally acute as you?"
Oh, wow.
And it was like-
okay. How did that work out?
Here
Well,
in the
maybe you
headlines,
want to
like,
find out.
well, you need to. Yeah, go ahead. This is great.
Let's do
This
it.
Is
This
great.
is actually
So-
quite good. This is interesting. And judging from the voice, she probably thought this guy was going to be on her side totally.
Do you regret
Yeah.
saying that
Oh,
President Biden had a mental acuity? He had a sharpness to him. You said that up until July of last year.
I said what I believe to be true.
And you think he was as sharp as you?
I said I had not seen decline.
Well, as sharp as her, yeah, especially in this interview.
Wait.
And I hadn't. at that point.
You did not see any decline from 2024 Joe Biden to 2021 Joe Biden?
We saw it.
Not when I said that. You know, the thing is,
I didn't see it.
look,
She didn't expect this.
he
did she?
was sharp. He was on his feet. I saw him live event. I had meetings with him a couple of times.
Senator, on his feet is not praise. He can speak in sentences is not praise.
All right, fair enough.
Wait,
This
hold
is
on a
great.
second. For a Democrat, that
Fair
is
enough.
praise.
Fair enough.
I mean, think about this. Even the sane ones, even the ones who are together can't speak in proper sentences.
She can't contain herself.
That's
like
right.
it's
Yeah.
unbelievable. Like you watch the body language, like at the beginning, I'm
This
like,
is
number
perfect.
one, she does the Joe Biden robot hand at the beginning, right? I need a body language expert. Somebody in the chat chime in. Somebody must know something. Is that subliminal? Because that's when she realized he was losing it. And then she moves to all these awkward hand gestures, which make it so obvious. And you can see the vein in her neck twitching from the very beginning. And
Yeah.
then she tries to hold back her laugh. That's amazing. Everything about that's amazing. Play
Yeah.
it again, Sam.
This is her Jim. This is her Jim Kirk moment. It's like,
Oh, think about this though.
I don't want to talk about this.
She was a little embarrassed about that. She was thinking, I think I need one of those beers again. The campaign
Yeah,
beer.
what are those fake beers? Yeah.
All right.
So
There we go.
so that right there, I think, was kind of the icing on the cake of what we're talking about regarding the left. They are so self-deluded. They are full of fake leaders, like 1/1,000,000% Indian Pocahontas there, and she's considered one of their leaders. She's getting a ton of airtime. I see her posts in my X feed all the time because apparently the algorithm
Tony.
loves her. And by the way,
she's the best
why do
that
they?
they have. Like, this is really like
Yeah.
a sad state of affairs. I mean, think about who the Democrats have right now, like in a leadership position, who are publicly known that the Democrats identify with. They've got Bernie
Right.
Sanders and AOC, who are a joke and a half. And then they've got her. I mean, she's sort of the best of the bunch in
Right.
in the land of the, what is it? I can't even come up with the phrase. Chris knows it. Chris, give me a phrase.
The land of the lost. How about that? Because they
The
are
land of the
lost.
lost.
Well, you
I
know
like
what?
it.
They're
I've
found.
got another. Go ahead, Chris.
Well, I was just thinking, Tony. They have no leader, but we do have one leader, and he might be calling. Anyway,
Wait,
I thought I was
what?
trying to. Anyway,
Who are you
There
going
is-
to call? Ghostbusters?
or we would,
Who's calling?
or possibly
Well,
Jesus.
No. Well, Jesus. Oh, it's right. Jesus. Well, before we do
Oh,
that,
Jesus calling.
we'll do- we
oh,
want-
Jesus
I was trying to get
calling.
to that. I was trying to segue.
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
So smart, Chris.
well,
It went
before we
over
go,
both of our
before we go to
heads.
that, before we go to that, Karen, I have one question for the folks to think about while you're reading that. So,
Okay.
why exactly do they call algorithms? Al Gore had no rhythm. Doesn't that seem like a misnomer?
It is a
Well,
misnomer.
I'm Al Gore,
I don't-
and I
Yeah,
take
it's
notes.
like I don't get it.
We don't.
Maybe
care
they can
for
explain
writing.
that to me. I don't know.
That's right. Hey, the best
Yeah,
rap songs
exactly.
anyway.
I don't get it.
You ever notice the best rap songs were actually done by white guys? Think about this. Falco's "Rock Me Amadeus."
I'll
Nope.
get on. I'll get on
Oh,
X to my
oh.
friend Vanilla Ice and ask him that.
And Rodney Dangerfield, Rappin' Rodney, another one.
Okay.
And
Okay.
Anthrax, "I Am the Man."
Hey,
Those are the
was-
three best rap songs
Was
on record.
was
I don't know. I feel like
So, Chris,
Anthrax is not in the
was,
rap genre.
You haven't heard? I haven't heard "I Am the Man."
No,
That
but
is a
Chris-
clean rap song.
Chris was C.J. McCall a rapper because he did Convoy?
I count it. Spoken word, rap, same thing. That's up there too. So the top 4 rap songs ever were all done by white guys. How about that?
I thought you were gonna. When you say white guy, I think about like rappers. I'm like, I thought you were gonna go with like Eminem or Little Dicky, and you went like in a whole different direction. And I never would even think Anthrax would be
Tom
on
McDonald's
the
good, too.
rap hip
Yeah,
hop
I am-
scene.
Super One.
I
love
am the
Tom
man.
McDonald. Tom McDonald's great.
The song is
Yeah.
called "I Am the
I-
Man." It's one rap song. That's it.
Okay.
One rap song
Okay.
we did. Got to get it. You have to listen to it now. It's
I'm
important.
gonna look it up on Spotify after the show. You know, I'm gonna have to look it up.
I don't
What was
know. I think 911 is a joke by Flavor Flav is pretty good. Just saying. And I actually like Run DMC. They got a couple of.
There was
cool
some good
songs, too.
Public Enemy songs too back in the day.
Public Enemy.
Well, I
Yeah.
actually did a
Yeah.
rap cover of with my friend at Dr.
Sugar Hill
Al.
Sugar Hill Gang.
We did a rap cover of
Yeah.
Lumberjack song.
I love
We
it.
we call the lumberjack rap. I don't know if I can still
Wow.
do it though. I was a
Lumberjack.
great human beatboxer in
I'm
my
a
day, by the
lumberjack and
way,
I'm
too.
okay.
That's right. I was a
I'm a
great human
lumberjack and I'm
beatboxer.
okay.
Stephen, maybe you were a great human beatboxer in
Hey,
your
good morning,
at your day
Steve.
too.
Good morning. It's
Nope.
Stephen Gardner. He's already shaking his head and he gets in. It's like,
There
oh
we go.
boy.
No rapping skills over here.
We're white guys and we
I
take
don't
no
know.
crap when we deliver our
So
white rap.
that's right. So, well, speaking of someone who's a friend, Stephen Gardner, he does a great podcast. I'm on a regular basis. Stephen, welcome to Wake Up Patriots. The Patriots are going to learn more about you today if they haven't already. By the way, I think I've told you this. I walk into the food line here in little old Edenton, North Carolina, and 3 separate times people have come up to me and said, "Hey, Colonel, I saw you on Stephen Gardner's show." So I'm just telling
Nice.
you have got quite the following of people who are just trying to live their lives, which I think is the best compliment. People who just want to live their lives, pay attention to what you have to say, and I appreciate that. So welcome to Wake Up Patriots, Stephen.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to be on.
So without further ado, we're going to do Jesus Calling.
Are we? Okay, I didn't know if we were getting to that. I'm taking my book
we have
back
to
out.
get
Yeah,
to that. Yes, we
Karen,
must.
did by the way, did Jesus call the Pope over the weekend? I think he did. I think he got the call.
You know, honestly, reflecting on Catholicism in general and how amazing it is that he defied the doctors and went out there and was out there for
Yeah.
the people, and
Good
that
for
it
him.
happened, right after Easter Sunday, and then on top of it, that he got to be with JD Vance, like. The whole thing is very miraculous, if I would say. So, yeah, without further
Did you
ado,
hear
let's
that?
get to Jesus
Did you
calling.
hear that? Did you hear that? No. Before you go, Karen. Before you get into that, did you hear that NPR is reporting that JD Vance assassinated the Pope?
I did, but nothing will shock me.
It's a joke.
Nothing
was
will
Trump's
shock
fault
me
too,
at this
by the
point.
way.
No,
It was
NPR
Trump's
didn't.
fault.
No, NPR didn't report that, but they would have if they could.
See, the
Just
problem
saying.
is it's so believable.
If they would.
Yeah.
I know. By the way, but Karen, another thing, Stephen, did you know back in the old days? I'm told they've changed this. I was talking to a Catholic last night. Did you know back in the 18th century when the Pope died, they would hit him in the head 3 times with a silver hammer? Did you know that? And I'm not joking.
They
So
still do it.
I guess they got rid of that.
Yeah,
They
They
got
do?
rid of
this
it.
time,
I
my.
heard they were still doing it. I thought it was very disturbing.
but this time
So-
the guy screamed, "Where's Nancy? Where's Nancy?"
No,
All right,
this
that's-
time it would have been like
no,
a
Chris,
pinata with
no.
candy coming out. So anyway. Anywho,
Ooh, we're definitely.
let's
Can
get to
we
Jesus.
Can we get to Jesus? We need to get there after
All right,
Chris's
get to
last
Jesus.
joke for
That's
sure.
All right, here we go.
And you
Sorry,
know
that's
what?
London calling.
This is definitely a message to all of us, I would say, because today the first sentence is listen to me continually. I have so much to communicate to you. So many people and situations are in need of prayer. I am training you to set your mind on me more and more, tuning out distractions through the help of my spirit. Walk with me in holy trust, responding to my initiatives rather than trying to make things fit your plans. I died to set you free, and that includes freedom from compulsive planning. When your mind spins with a multitude of thoughts, you can't hear my voice. A mind preoccupied with planning pays homage to the idol of control. Turn away from the idol and listen to me and live abundantly. I love that one today. I'm really glad that I got to read that. I only get to read it, on air once a week, although I read it every day. And I love that the on air ones always seem to be like the most, fitting for my week and things that I need to hear.
Thank you, Karen. Yeah, and the Patriots love it. And by the way, on a personal note, I've talked about this before. Believe it or not, as much as a heathen I am, I get up and I turn my day over to God every day. It's like, look, I'm a knucklehead. You need to help me kind of focus on what's important. So I'm very happy to have turned my life and my will over to the care of God as I understand him. And it seems to work out much better. So as opposed to turning my life over to a bunch of gerbils in a cage like the left does, I think God, gerbils, I think I'd go with God every time. Just saying. I think that's a better choice. So
Well, speaking
not
of
that I'm
gerbils,
trying to, yeah, go ahead, Chris.
speaking
I'm
of
going to get in
gerbils,
trouble here.
Did you get to hear what Jamie Raskin was saying about this MS-13 guy?
Let's
I
talk
thought
about
that was a
gerbils.
cue for me.
Yes.
Anyway, he's yammering on
Here we
about.
go.
Remember, he's maneuvering for position 2. Every Democrat you see that's that's calm and speaking in public right now is trying to be the anti-AOC and trying to take over this leadership. So this is Jamie Raskin trying to tell us that the El Salvadorian government is wrong for not bringing the MS-13 gangster here.
But look, President Bukele, who's declared himself a dictator, and the other tyrants, dictators, autocrats of the world have to understand that the Trump administration is not going to last forever. We're going to restore strong democracy to America, and we will remember who stood up for democracy in America and who tried.
All right. First off, if you're a host of any show, do not bobblehead yes to your guest. That's number one. That's
She's
rule
a
number one.
bobblehead in real life. Just
That's
saying.
true.
But okay,
That's true. Well, you don't go, yeah, you go, guy. You're supposed to actually give some kind of. You're in control of the program. You're supposed to be the straight guy. That's what Steven does. Right? He's not. He always looks good.
Well, I got a question for Steven as soon as this is done. So keep going, Chris. Let's get through this.
To drive us down towards dictatorship and autocracy. So I'm glad that Chris Van Hollen showed exactly where America is, and we're not afraid of any dictator anywhere.
And that's another thing. He was also threatening people by saying history is not going to look kindly on anybody who supports Trump.
Yeah. So that's my first question to Steven. Steven, do you think our policy should be to nuke nations that don't agree with this, like he's proposing there?
No, I wish the Trump administration would wake up. They are telling you when we get back in power, there will be revenge, there will be retribution. We will come after you. So everybody in my community is waiting for Pam Bondi and for Dan Bongino and for others to do something. Why aren't you arresting people? These guys nearly destroyed the United States. They've made so much division within the country. And now you have Jamie Raskins, who led both impeachments, saying, as soon as we're back in power, we're going to have revenge. My God, they spent the first 60 days saying that Trump was going to get revenge on everybody. Every enemy that ever looked at him wrong, they were going to get revenge, right? And now they're telling us, we are going to get revenge. Take them at their word. Jamie Raskins is telling you the truth. If we win in 2026, agenda number one, get Trump out of office. Wake up.
That's what they did already. They did it.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Biden was in office.
Yeah. So, well, that's my point. And I posted on this, and I didn't get censored, that this is what the Nazis did in 1936 when they came back to power. It's like, that's the first thing they did. They went after their enemies. So, Karen, that's a question I want to ask you. It's like, why do you think Pam Bondi, I know Pam, I don't know her well. I know Dan Bongino better. What's going on? Why is there delay? What do you think is holding these people back from doing what Steven is saying must be done to stop these people from essentially becoming Nazis back in power? Because that's what they're going to do if they get in. So what's holding them back? Do you?
I find it disappointing too. And I agree with Stephen that I think that there are a lot of people that want to be addressed and given some answers on that. Like, I think we deserve to know, why are things moving so slowly? Why are we not getting the answers? Why are plans not executed the way that you intended for them to be? You know, you work for us, right? So once there's some accountability of where that's falling short, I think we'll all feel a lot better about it in general. And I think there probably are answers. I think there are reasons why she's not pursuing it, but I can't wrap my head around, you know, what those are, because I'm not the attorney general, right? Like, and I think that there is some answers that need to come to light, because it's very confusing why we talked about taking such a strong stance. And then on something like this, we're just going to ignore the obvious, as you're saying, Tony. And it is, as soon as this conversation started, I went right to Germany. My mind went right to Germany, World War II. Here we are again. But, you know, they succeeded in getting revenge on the American people the last time by electing Joe Biden. Think about what we just recovered from, that we're recovering from after the 4 years of absolute hell and scorched earth that we were living in. You know, let's not minimize that, right? Like, I still have PTSD.
That's a great point, because that circles back to the fact, like you said, they didn't elect Joe Biden. They installed Joe Biden.
Yeah, they
I'm convinced, based on my own personal investigation. Steve and I have talked about this a lot regarding the pallet of ballots, Jesse Morgan, my own little sliver of heaven that required Bill Barr, the sitting attorney general, to call me and say, "Hey, you need to stop this." Okay, Stephen, let me ask that question. If the attorney general is calling you personally regarding an ongoing investigation you're running, and he demands to take it over, I think that's kind of unusual, right?
It's extremely unusual.
Mhm.
It's one that I hope that they'll open back up. But I'm telling
Yeah,
you
exactly.
right now,
Exactly.
I'm telling you right now, people are happy about what Trump did on the border. People are happy with what he's doing to the criminal, murderer, rapist, gangsters that he's kicking out. They're happy about inflation. They're happy about gas prices. They're happy about all of his efforts to get out of the Russia-Ukraine war. They're happy that he's keeping Benjamin Netanyahu and Israel in check. What they're not happy about is, why have there been no arrests? We saw with our own eyes the way that they treated us. We saw with our own eyes the way that they broke the law, the way that they went after Trump. Like, come on.
Mhm.
We're sitting on mountains of evidence about AG Letitia James. We
Yep.
can't even indict her, make her prove her side, get a grand jury, something. Come on. I'm telling you, the one thing that people are disappointed right now is that there haven't been arrests. I don't know. Maybe they're afraid of being accused of being QAnon again or something. Like,
That's
but
fair.
come on. There's got to be some justice, or else they're going to get back in power. And the first thing they're going to do is the very thing that they accused you of your first 60 days.
And it's been shown. They
that's
did
what
that
they're
already.
doing.
In 2018, one of the first things they did was find some kind of lame excuse to impeach President Trump. They found a second excuse. Then they found a way to handcuff him later on. Then after they installed Biden, they, as you said, Stephen, they went after all of their political enemies. They threw people in jail. They threw people in jail for representing Donald Trump, representing him in court.
Oh.
That's what they did.
Well,
they're going to do it again.
That's the issue. So that's the issue. Now, if it wasn't, to Stephen's point, and Karen, you saw this too, right after Trump was out, they went after all of his lawyer deputies, all of the people that worked for him. There was a concerted campaign of lawfare against them. Some of that is still going. And I had to testify at a couple of their hearings regarding the election stuff that I just alluded to. So I know for a fact that that was a concerted effort to use mainstream mechanisms such as state bars, as the federal judiciary, the federal investigative system, to go after folks. So what Stephen is saying and what Karen is alluding to is like, look, we've seen this movie before. And if our side doesn't use the power they've been granted with popular support, and Stephen said it, I agree, he's got the support he needs. And oh, by the way, they've defunded the funding mechanism for the Democrats to fund uprising against us. U.S. aid is gone. So you're going to see a diminished ability of the resistance to resist. So now is the time to do something. So Karen, to that point, they've defunded a lot of the opposition. Do you think President Trump's going to have to personally jump in and say, "Hey, Pam, hey, what's the schedule? What's the frequency, Kenneth?" Right, Chris?
Yes.
Dan Rather.
I do. I absolutely do, Tony. And I think it is going to take him to step in, but I think there's a lot at play here. I want to read what Nene wrote in the chat because I thought it was great. She said it straight up, like, Pam Bondi, like, you need to take responsibility, right? She needs to get some nerve, take a stand, and follow up. Arresting those who are deserving, like, do it. Do your job. Do what you were put in the position to do. Like, it's that simple to so many of us. And again, if there's something holding that up, we deserve to know what it is. And I do think it's going to take Donald Trump. I absolutely do, because he's the man to do it. What's crazy is, we talk about the lack of leadership, on the Democrat side, and we put a lot of focus on that. And I'm not, smashing the leadership under the Trump administration. I love everybody that's involved, but we need more strong leaders. We need people to come forward. We need action people. We are fighting a really big fight that's been going on for a deep and dirty long time. And we need people like her to be in the position to be able to rip these things apart. And, the only person I saw ripping anything up was Nancy Pelosi. Pam Bondi needs to get on it.
Oh, here's something for you.
Well, I just
Right?
Sean Lucas just commented they should never have taken Matt Gates out. I agree. Matt would have not
Yeah, I
hesitated.
love Matt.
Excuse me.
Well,
I agree.
he's tough. Now, here's the
Yeah.
funny thing: the Democrats are the masters of doing exactly what you said, Karen. Look back to 1992. They knew historically that there was going to be trouble if one party rules. People are going to strike back and elect, maybe bring the next party into, or they're going to lose seats in the House. This always happens. So in 1992, the far left threw a whole bunch of garbage down our throats, a bunch of leftist garbage down our throats. You can start with the ninja loans and move on forward here, because they
Mhm.
knew when the Republicans or more people or more Republicans would gain House seats, they couldn't push this through. Let's fast forward to 2029, 2010. The Democrats they tried 3 times. They did it the third time. They shoved Obamacare down our throats because they knew that they were going to lose seats for doing it, but they had to do it anyway, because if they didn't do it, then obviously the people would vote them out, and you'd never have their Obamacare. Same thing with Joe Biden. He pushed as much garbage as he could when he had the House in 2021 through 2023. It was a Democrat strategy. They know they're going to lose seats.
Right.
We are in the same position now. We know we're going to lose seats possibly.
But
The media is going to play against us. We need to do this stuff now. We need to bring these charges
well, that's what
up
I'm
now.
saying. Yes, Chris, because they get this stuff done, and they get it done. They sacrifice us like a bunch of the dead running over the wall, getting something done, and then they have to retreat. That's fine, but we never then dismantle what they've built. The Obamacare thing should have been gone a long time ago. That has been a travesty. It was all a lie. If you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor. Really, how'd that work out? This
He
whole
was
thing
never
with
telling the
the
truth.
It
Green New
was,
Deal.
Tony. And you made a really good point at the beginning that Doge has ripped so many things apart, and funding is being taken away
Yep.
from USAID and other entities that have funded this war on logical America. I don't even want to make it about the left and progressives. Like, it is a war on logic is what it is. Anybody who is willing
Yeah.
to stand up for family rights, for American freedom, for all the basics, it's an attack on them. And now that that funding's gone, is that going to be something positive? I think a lot of us would like to wish that it is, right?
Yeah. Well, I think so. And it goes back to Stephen. So, Stephen, to that point, you've been a values guy. I don't think I don't think you would be defending or supporting President Trump if not for the fact he's trying to bring back traditional values, the value of family, of God, of service, these things which are important. Trying to get away from victimhood, because that's what the left wants. The left wants you and me to be a victim and be complaining and always want people to basically have to come to the government for aid and support. That's what I think is what they do. So how do we then, as citizens, demand that progress continue to be made by the Trump folks without becoming victims? How do we do that? What, any thoughts on that?
No, I feel a little bit stumped because, I interviewed a lot of these people on my show. They said that they were going to do stuff. I mean, I'm trying to be patient. We're not even 100 days in, but when you start seeing cryptic text from Dan Bongino, I'm not asking you to trust me, but I need you to trust me. Stuff's going on behind the scenes that you guys are going to want to know about, but it's like they're just going to keep throwing so many things at them. It needs to be at the forefront of what they're doing. I want to see less of Pam Bondi on Fox News and more of her on the steps of the courthouse.
Fair enough.
That's what I want to see, right?
Yeah.
I think
And
we
you
all
guys-
agree. I think
Look,
our
guys
chat
before-
agrees with that. And
Yeah,
I think
but-
anybody would say that to her. I mean, I think it's a very honest statement, Steve, and we can't be afraid to say something like that. That was one of the best things. Like, she needs to get in and dig in. That's what we're all waiting for. Thank you
All right,
for
but-
saying that.
Yeah.
Well, let's bring this into another direction, Stephen, Tony, and Karen. The left, the Democrats, have the luxury of having the entire deep state establishment, the media, and the global elite behind them. The Republicans, on the other hand, have to watch their step. One misstep, one little piece of bad evidence, or one thing that doesn't quite work out, the media is going to magnify it, and it's going to reflect on everything they're trying to do. It's going to reflect on any time they bring up charges or try to indict some of these criminals in office right now. It's going to be very difficult to indict a Schiff or somebody like that. It's going to be very difficult to bring up charges that are necessary. We see what's going on, but the idea is everybody's going to go against them. One thing goes wrong, it reflects on everything, and then the Republicans lose power for a very long time because people will fall for it. The front line, the perpetually alarmed electorate, that portion will fall for it, and the Democrats will regain power. That's the steps. Those are the steps that the Trump administration.
Well, let me hit this because this is all right. I get what you're saying, Chris, but this is why, this is why I'm glad Stephen is here this morning. Stephen is part of the ecosystem of truth, and I'm not saying that because you're my friend or because you're here. I'm just saying that people have come to recognize the very thing you said, Chris, that the larger mainstream ecosystem, they lie. They lie constantly. Right. It's like, oh, this Pete Hicks, the latest thing is like signal. It's like, yeah, you tried that 2 weeks ago. We didn't buy it. Oh, there's a conspiracy with Trump. Trump's looking for a replacement. He's not looking for a replacement. So but my point is, people have walked away and they recognize people like Stephen. Stephen, first time you interviewed me, you didn't know me from Jack. We basically had a conversation, and I think over time, the power of truth of me saying something that's verifiable resonates, and I think that's what you've tried to do. You try to bring people on who have a point of view that is essentially based on objective truth. I think that's why people are turning to this ecosystem. Is that correct? I mean, I think that's why people are abandoning the mainstream and coming to people like you. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, look how many layoffs there were once they got rid of USAID. Suddenly, a lot of newscasters were laid off. I thought that was kind of weird, but we know that the mainstream media is more liberal. We know that independent journalism is more conservative. I'm extremely conservative. Family, faith, God, all of those are at my highest value. So when I try to bring people the truth, it's through common sense. I don't try to be over the top crazy. I don't try to clickbait people with my newscast.
Right.
It's just saying, listen, this is the truth. There's boys, there's girls. We need to have a strong army. We need to not be involved in foreign wars. When they say we need more tax dollars, what they're telling you is we need to steal more of your money so that we can do bad with your money. So I'm done with the Democrat Party, but you have to know they are not done. We have not steamrolled them. We have not done anything like that. They are regrouping right now and preparing to do an all-out assault. They're looking every single day. There's a committee that meets with each other to find things that they can go after Donald Trump for. I can't remember who it was, but it was one of the top Democrat leaders.
Shaffer.
She said, we have a weekly call with state attorney generals from around the country. And all we talk about is ways that we can hamstring President Trump and his administration.
Yep.
So wake up, conservatives. We've got to be doing the same thing. I'm telling you, everything they're saying Trump is doing on the first 60 days, they are doing that right now. They're just waiting for the power and the authority to be able to do it.
And we can't underestimate them either.
It's the dirty hands pointing the fingers, isn't it? Isn't it always?
But the lying.
My star said Republicans need to fight harder, and they do. That's absolutely correct. And I don't. So I guess, Karen, to you then, what's it going to take to get? Because look, I think one of the reasons I'm not in there right now because I just don't care. I would be a. Can I say flamer on the air? I'm not a flamer that way, but a flamer. I'd be flaming people.
Flamethrower.
So, I'm gonna be real with all of you right now because I think, Tony, what you said and what Stephen said, I think it all makes a lot of sense. And let's be honest. We just watched a clip earlier with Jen Psaki, in her position at MSNBC. And a lot of these people, whether it be Pam Bondi or, maybe even Matt Gaetz, if he was in that position, he is a great media person. A lot of these people have two lives that they have to balance when they're in these positions. They have a public life of doing news hits and being on media channels, which can become overwhelming and can sort of delude them with the brightness of the stardom that they see and the fun of doing television. I love doing TV. That's why I'm doing this with you guys every Tuesday. That's why I'm here. So you take somebody like Pam
Yeah.
Bondi and making a really good point, Stephen, in saying she's on Fox too much. Yeah, I see her on that Hannity show. She's on there almost every day. And yeah, that's a full-time job in itself. So, these people are highly active. They can work like President Trump does. These people work 80, 90 hours a week. I have the absolute utmost respect for all of them. But I think that shining star of fame can be very overwhelming to people that like to be on TV. And the first round of people, Tony, that are in there, and I'm not calling Pam out specifically, I'm saying in general, they may end up with really great careers in the media, working for conservative outlets and doing the right thing and being voices of truth, right? But they need to filter out.
Right.
And there is going to be some filtering out of all of these people that Trump brought in with the best of intentions at the beginning of this. Let's remember how early we are into this administration and appreciate that, and appreciate that we do have time on our hands right now.
Yeah,
But shouldn't
I
more attorneys
know
shouldn't,
it's early.
shouldn't more
Right?
U.S. attorneys be hired by now, Tony? I mean, again, that's
What?
another week. They're
Yeah,
not
I mean,
hiring enough
you're preaching to the
attorneys in
choir,
US counties.
Chris.
Right. They
Well,
haven't done
Yes.
that. That's an issue.
Yeah.
That's an issue
Right.
we
There's
should really be
issues
addressing
for
here.
sure.
Right.
Let me
Big
just throw out an
issues.
idea here. So one of the top people on the Fox News board is Paul Ryan. He
Mhm.
hates Donald Trump's guts.
Oh yeah.
He could very easily say, hey, one way to covertly undermine Donald Trump, have the attorney general on. She's pretty, she's smart. We'll give her hours of airtime. Meanwhile, she's not out doing her job. But you look at Trump's right-hand attorney right now, Will Scharf, who I interviewed several times. That guy's not on Fox News all the time. He's got his head
Stephen.
down, digging into the law, writing executive orders.
Yes.
Right.
But if you ask the general public, I just want to make this point. If you ask the general public, Stephen, who Donald Trump's lawyer is, they're going to say Alina Habba, because that's the name that they see on TV. So we have to remember that, and I'm saying, our chat, you, me, the people that are really entrenched in this, we're paying more attention. Other people are just fed what they're fed, and it's not necessarily bad. I like Alina. I like Pam. I like all of these people. I think they're wonderful patriots. But at the same time, it is a very interesting world. And when you bring up Paul Ryan, that's absolutely spot on. So yeah, you got my fires burning over here. I'm all angry.
Well, the one guy. Well, let me say this: the one guy I think who's achieved the correct balance of public availability and action is Tom Homan. Tom is kicking ass, and he doesn't care. And he'll go on a hostile network and just lay it out. Yeah.
Right.
So to me, be like Tom, right? Maybe Steve, should that be our "Be Like Tom" campaign? Hey, be like Tom. Go do your freaking
Tom's
job.
on a lot, Tony, too. I mean, you're
But I'm
talking about
saying
actions.
he's still doing his job.
Speak louder than words. Actions
saying
speak
both.
louder than words.
Right.
From the outside looking
Yes.
in, it looks like he's brought the right people in. And that's another thing. We're talking about how Bondi's hasn't brought in all the right people. We don't have the proper amount of U.S. attorneys that we should be having at this point. They should be hiring. It doesn't matter if Pam Bondi's doing it. The underlings, the nerds, the people working behind the scenes, the Chris's of the world here have to get to work and get things done too.
She should be speaking up.
Pam
That's
should
what
be
our
on
chat
top.
keeps saying. Speaking
Tom's-
up.
Tom's on top of his people. Pam's going to be on top of hers. That's what has to happen. So all your points, that's what has to happen, right?
So
chat agrees.
yeah, and so I think, so I think we've right. So I think we would agree, and everybody loves Tom in the chat. I love Tom Homan too. I've met Tom. I know Tom. He used to live in Stafford County, and one of my other bosses, Sheriff Dave Decatur. Shout out Dave, Sheriff of Stafford County. He used to live in Dave's district, and he would do talks to Dave's deputy sheriffs. Anyway, my point: Tom is a real guy. He's like us. If he were here right now, we could have a conversation, and he'd be as bold to us as he is in his other comments, and that's the way it should be. So,
but so is Pam, Tony. Pam is very personable too. She's great to have a conversation with. You don't think so?
So maybe we're missing something, because to me,
you
should have at least gotten one scalp on the books immediately.
Agree.
Just one.
She
Just one.
should
And
give
I could
us an
think of about
explanation.
10
She should come
candidates.
on the show. She should
Yeah.
tell us why, Tony. She should tell
I'll
our
send
chat
her a
why she
note,
should
but I
be
don't think
held
she'll come on.
accountable. I
Yeah,
don't
I'll
think so,
send her a
but
note, but I don't think she'll come.
Yeah, I think a lot of
But she
people are afraid
really,
to come
I
on with
thought she
Tony.
was going to go in there and kick some ass. I'll be honest. I thought she was going to go in there and kick some ass. My
Yeah.
conversations with her and the
So did I.
interactions I've had with her led me to believe that she was going to go in there and she was going to rip people apart. And yes, I would completely agree. The chat agrees. We're all on the same page that that has not happened. It's like, why? Tell us why, right?
Yeah.
Well,
So
maybe
there's
that's the
so
strategy.
yeah, and I want these next two things I want to go through will link together. So leaving Pam, sort of. Stephen, why do you think they've not released the Epstein passenger list, the witness list? What do you think's going on that? Because she promised that, and it's like, oh, here's a nice binder. Okay, we've already got that. Where's the real list? What do you think's going on that? And I'm going somewhere with it. Just be
Yeah,
patient.
the only thing I can think of is that people in power are using their power, money, authority, connections, favors to keep that stuff out of the media, because whether they were nefarious or they just happened to be caught on the wrong Lolita Express, they are doing everything they can to keep their name out of her mouth, right? Like it's Will Smith smacking, keep my wife's name out your mouth. They are doing everything they can
Yeah.
to keep that under wraps. I don't understand why. Then why is Ghislaine Maxwell in prison? She's the only person to go to jail for a giant
Exactly.
trafficking network
Exactly.
of nobodies.
Well, there you go. The other,
Yeah.
Stephen, you bring
it's
across a
mystery.
great point here. Think about this: when if this list is ever released in its entirety, the media is probably going to cherry pick a couple of names, maybe within the Trump administration, that were on, as you said, Stephen, the wrong plane at the wrong time, didn't have anything to do with that, and realize, and as you know, the old adage, truth travels fast, but and goes around the world faster than you. Sorry, the lie travels around the world faster than the truth can get its pants on. That's how it works, right? But the idea is they're gonna cherry pick a couple of names, try to influence the rest of the world or the rest of the nation before the election, and then or kind of like minimize or hide the horrible elites who have been there for a long time, and maybe cover up their names. That's
So,
something that
maybe.
we could see happening.
No, I think it's darker. I think it's way darker. And this is what I believe. I believe what they're most worried about is the acknowledgement that the Israelis and MI6 British were all in bed doing this, that some of our own folks were compromised to them, to the Israelis and to the British. Because remember, who led the Russia collusion narrative? Christopher Steele and the British intelligence. Gina Haspel, the director of CIA, was the chief of station in London during this whole ramp up. Just saying. So that's something that needs to be investigated. That's something I would love to investigate because I kind of know where it would all go.
It would be nice.
But to that point, Karen, why is it then we can't be honest about the fact that there were intelligence shenanigans going on here that actually impacted on the Trump administration first go around? Why can't we just say that?
I mean, because you're talking about, sex and lies and blackmail, which are all very difficult things to deal with. So I think that's first and foremost, probably at the top of the list, why we haven't seen the list. But then Jenna brought up an interesting point in the chats and said, maybe the list doesn't exist. Maybe this huge list that we thought existed. I'm just saying, there's such a rabbit hole that you could go down about where and why and how. It's incredible when this thing has that many legs that we haven't even taken off one leg. Like you said, Ghislaine Maxwell is the only person that's been held accountable. There's got to be a really deep, dark, dirty situation here. And how many people were compromised on our side? And you know what?
Exactly.
Yeah, expose them all.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Expose them all. Expose them all. Let's get to the bottom of it. We can handle it and we can move forward. But I think there has to be some real accountability. Our chat totally agrees.
Stephen, speaking of sex, drugs, and blackmail, do you think Joe Biden should go with Donald Trump to the Pope's funeral?
Maybe in different limos.
Biden helped install the guy, so hey.
Well, it is actually a serious question. I didn't want to hold this to the last piece of the show here, but obviously President Trump said he's going, and the left is all, oh my God, it's like they're upset that Trump's going. It's like, what the hell is wrong with you people? It's like that scene in Zoolander when Mugabe is like, what? Am I taking crazy pills? I mean, it's like, well, of course the president would go to the funeral. So, Stephen, what do you think? How do you think President Trump should handle this? Should he invite the prior presidents because he has that option? What do you think that President Trump should do in this? So, and by the way, for full disclosure, Joe Biden is a Catholic. He says he is. So go ahead, Stephen. I don't know.
Well, I think at this point, I'm not Catholic, but he probably needs to proceed like a president and make this presidential show dignity and respect, whether you believe in the Pope or not. There's going to be heads of state from all countries all around the world. So I think this is the time to be polite. I did want to say one thing. I didn't want to interrupt earlier, but there is a list that is connected to Gina Haspel, who was the top of the CIA when she gave her personal blessing to release the letter of the 51 intelligence agents that said the Hunter Biden laptop was Russian disinformation. We have that list of names.
That's
now, I believe that Trump he said, we're going to get tied up in time and court if we try to bring all of these people to justice. I'll go ahead and remove the thing that matters to them most for their high salaries, which is security clearance. So I do want, to remind our chat here that he has done a lot. I think he's gone at it with firing. That's what he knows best to do. He's known for being the guy that says you're fired. But I have to imagine behind the scenes, even he is going, okay, I can't look connected to this, but Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, your names were put forward for a reason.
Yeah. Well, let's hit that point real quick, because, by the way, there were actually 4 more names not on the list. If you go back and look at that time, there were, and you can kind of figure out who they are through the email that have been released, but there were 4 more names beyond that. 51 were willing to be public. There was a total of, I think, 55 who signed it. And of course, 4 cowards, not surprising there. But the point maybe, and I get your point, and I get the president's point. Okay, we're going to remove, their clearances. But in some cases, John Brennan, Gina Haspel, a number of these folks, I think, committed material sedition, provable sedition. And I understand you can't get all 51. I get it, but you should get at least 5. And I still think that's where they ought to go with that. Just saying. So
start with 1.
Karen, what do you think?
Start with 1.
Yeah,
Stephen took the words out of my mouth.
Big names on
baby
down.
steps. Like just let's do something. Actions speak louder than words. I think that's like how I even want to leave the show today. Is like, show us, do something, right?
Yeah.
Big names on down.
By the way, I think I've told this story before. John Brennan was over at MS. I used to go on MSNBC in the old days before they became completely wacko. They were only half wacko in the old days. And I was going on to do, I think, the cycle in the afternoon. And the makeup lady does our makeup. We have to look good. Just saying.
Of course.
And so the lady was Jewish. She was very devout Jewish and very conservative. I was surprised she worked at MSNBC, but I don't want to get her in trouble. Anyway, she said, Colonel Shaffer, I got to tell you, John Brennan was here yesterday and I did his makeup. And I said, really? I said, what was that like? What was it like to touch his face? She said it was like touching pure evil.
Oh, wow.
And she was completely serious.
Wow.
She was completely serious. Just say
Yeah.
it. John, if you're watching, I'd work on the face. Maybe a seance or something to get rid of the evil,
Yeah, like Newman.
Go,
I looked into his eyes. Pure evil.
Look into his eyes. So, well, I don't know. It's been an interesting 90 days. We're at exactly, I think it's coming up. It's 3 months exactly, 90 days. So we've actually kind of done a de facto critique. We've talked about some of the good. We talked about a lot of the bad. But I think, Stephen, let me give you the second from the last word. We'll let Karen have the last word. What do you see coming for the next 90 days? Just give us a few thoughts of what you think is going to happen well, get us to the first 6 months of the administration.
Well, I hope we get a more conservative pope. Again, I'm not Catholic, but I have traditional Christian values. So there's that. I believe that we will get a large portion of the Trump tariff situation nailed down. India came in today with the very first deal saying, we are ready to be the next China for you. We have values that align with the United States. Vietnam, I believe, is running second with Italy right there. So I think we're going to get rid of the tariff stuff. I'm hoping that there will be some arrests. I think we might see AG Letitia James be indicted, and she should. And I think they're just going to continue to use the military on the border. And Trump is going to say, what else did I promise in my campaign? And that's all we're going to focus on for the next quarter. That's what I believe will happen.
Good. That's good. All right. So Karen, what do you think the next 90 days are going to bring?
I think all of that was very optimistic. And I think, I want to add that I think there is going to be some changing of the guard. And I don't know specifically who is going to leave, the fold and, go on to other things. But I think there's going to be some really unique opportunities for new people to come in and emerge as leadership within the Trump administration. And I'm all here for it. And I want to say that I think that Caroline Leavitt is doing such a bang up job as press secretary. And I just want to say for so many of us, because we were talking about her in the chat, it's a really proud moment to see somebody emerge who's younger and, could be one of our kids or our grandkids for a lot of us, right? And see the intelligence and the future and the hope for America. Somebody with traditional values. And we need more of that. So, I want to soak in the good things. And I think the next 90 days is going to leave opportunities open, Tony, for other people that have been involved in previous administrations to come on in and do a bang up job. And I'm here for it.
I feel like this is the McLaughlin group. This is like going around and
they tried to revive that show. They tried to revive that show.
I was on the revived. I was on the revived show.
I was too, Tony. I did a little thing for them.
Yeah, I was too.
This would be more like the McDonald's.
I was hoping they bring it back. You and I were both on there.
Me too. Me too. They were great people.
Pete's good. Yeah. Pete, they were good.
This is more like the McDonald's.
Bring back
they had a couple of the old timers. Pat Buchanan was still on there, and what's her name?
It was cool.
I can't remember her name now.
It was great.
Yeah, it was cool. But that's good. Anyway, so but I think we're all enthusiastic. Things are they can only get better, right? That's the thing. Things are not bad, but we got to get ahead of the deep state. It's reorganizing. It was in shock for about a month. It got over shock pretty quick. To Stephen's point, they're back having their little meetings. They're Marxists, so Marxists are going to Marxist, so they're going to do it. And we got to have our side get more aggressive. I think that's the conclusion. Be more aggressive. Do what you promised to do. That's right.
I do want to quick point out to Stephen's point, your point, and Karen's point about the deep state regrouping. They've already been doing that, not here in this, they have in this country, but that's behind the scenes around Europe. You've seen it. They've already jailed Gorgescu from Romania, the non-left-wing candidate for president. He's thrown in jail. He's disqualified from running. The deep state, the deep globalists have already disqualified Marine Le Pen from running for leadership in France. They're trying.
That's being appealed, but yeah,
they're looking at canceling the Hungarian elections if Orban gets his way. They're trying to kick out. Hungarian members of parliament. This is a big. The deep state has been fighting back. They've been doing it in Europe, and their guns. They're setting up for probably 2026 at this point. They're going to do what they can, but they're operating stealthily right now. That's what's happening. Right, but they're doing
it. I think so.
It took them a while, but they're fighting back in Europe. So we're going to see what they're doing.
In the meantime, in the famous words of Lawrence O'Donnell, stop the hammering. There's a great segment out there of Lawrence O'Donnell complaining about hammering. So I guess the Pope died at the floor above him or something, and they were hammering on the Pope. But I digress. So we got to go. It's been a great show. It's true. No, I'm serious. There's a clip out there of Lawrence O'Donnell yelling about who's hammering. Stop the hammering. So
I thought he was living under Pelosi's apartment at the time.
Maybe. Yeah, Paul Pelosi's pretty good with being hammered. He's got experience. That's
Where's
is that
David?
is that the
Where's
basis
his,
for the Jimi
whatever happened
Hendrix
to his
song?
friend David? I've been asking that for 2 years. Where's David?
Or it's also we had Senator 100 Proof Moynihan over here at one point as well. Ted Kennedy. Yeah, I guess there are a lot of those guys who get hammered from the from the Democrats.
Yeah. So
Well,
anyway,
I'll see you
we got to
guys
go.
next
Stephen,
week.
thank you for being here. Yeah, Karen,
Yes.
thank you for being here, Karen. We've had a great show. The Patriots love you all, and we appreciate the both. And as Karen said, this is both Wake Up Patriots, because you got to wake up. Just get up, get out of bed, get some coffee, shuffle around, and then wake up. Wake the F
Wake
up. Can I say
up.
that? I guess I did.
Wake up.
Wake the F up. So, and Stephen will continue to get people to wake up in his show. And again, I really appreciate joining you. And I think you have an audience, Stephen, who are, like I said, just people who want to know the truth. And I appreciate the fact that you do your best to bring it to them. Karen, thank you for Jesus Calling. And I guess, we can comment next week on what we can expect out of the Catholic Church. Hopefully they'll return to being Catholics. Just saying,
Yeah,
hope springs
hope
eternal.
so.
So we'll see.
Yeah. See you next week.
No more Jesuits. No more Jesuits. That's right. So, all right, Chris. And then thank you, Chris, for not being on a beach in California like Ed McMahon. We appreciate it.
Well, the weekend's up, so